Welcome to the Sanity Project podcast, where you can awaken your mind to clarity and success even in today's life challenges. We're here to provide insights and solutions that will help you live a sane, healthy, and prosperous life. Here's your host, Joanne Victoria.
Hello, everybody. This is Joanne Victoria with another episode of the Sanity Project podcast. You are here to discover a life of clarity, confidence, and success. And for some of you, success may mean going to college. What do you know? Our guest today, Bonnie Burkett, was a military kid and lived 14 places in 16 years, including 2.5 years in Paris, France. Bonnie attended college but didn't like grad school. She got a great job with a major insurance company, then opened her own agency 35 years ago. She found her wonderful husband, Dave, and she'll tell us where later, and they have a great adult daughter, Sara. She's going to tell you more about herself and what this is all about, including what does FAFSA mean. And she also wrote a book entitled Enough! The College Cost Crisis, How to Protect Your Wallet and Your Students' Financial Future. It's on Amazon, and every review has got 5 stars. Welcome to the show, Bonnie Burkett.
Thank you, Joanne. How are you?
I'm pretty good, surprisingly. Even at this stage of the game, there's a lot of allergies outside. Can you believe that?
Yes, fall allergies are worse than my spring allergies.
Oh, it's just awful. And I'm allergic to everything. So we're going to talk about the expense of college. And you're going to help people with your secret sauce recipe, help them not have a huge debt over time. And those who are listening, raise the volume, because I don't want you to miss a thing, even though I always tell my listeners, re-listen to the podcast because you probably didn't take notes the first time. So, Bonnie, tell our audience and myself as well how you came to be on this path helping students with their college fees.
I came this direction because I was exactly like most parents when my daughter got ready to look at school. I knew things had changed. I knew there were some new magic letters out there, but it wasn't a big deal when I went to school. And so I sort of started sideways, looking at it. And all of a sudden, I'm thrown into alphabet soup. There's FAFSA, which for your listeners is the federal application for free student aid, or federal student aid, free application for federal student aid. See, even I can get it messed up. And then all of a sudden there were all kinds of other things. And one of our other things is we had a great student. She was very good at school, but she also had a tremendous artistic bent. And that just creates a whole different world. Well, last week, this most recent episode of yours, your Dr. Jen talked about the challenges of working with a student with special direction. So we had to find a school for her. We ran up and down the states nearby, and nothing was fitting. It's November of her senior year. I'm having panic attacks, and we couldn't find anything that fit. Finally slid into the last week of the school that she ended up going to, and it was the right fit in the right place. But I'm telling you, I was purple from holding my breath. And then things just kept going from that point on. We got her settled in. She did well. She graduated. Yay. But in my day work, I kept hearing the horror stories. I kept hearing about parents with kids who couldn't find their major and didn't like the school and didn't know what they were doing. And the parents are borrowing money year after year after year. And it just was frustrating because nobody seemed to know anything else to do but put their kid on the conveyor belt and try to pay the bill. Well, here's the problem. The cost of college has increased 945% since 1975, while the consumer price index has only gone up 300%. That's still a lot, but I'm trying to make a point. College is nearly unaffordable. You can't work in the summers and earn enough money to pay for a semester. You can't do anything like that anymore. So college has become the second most expensive part of raising a child. The first part is the 18 years. College is your next highest cost. So I kept looking for a book. Isn't there a book out there that will walk you through how to understand what's really happening. And I couldn't find it. I found great little pie slice books that talked about one aspect, but I couldn't find the whole book. And finally, a dear friend of mine said, I am so tired of listening to you rant about this. Why don't you write a book? And I just looked at her and said, okay. So I did.
And here we are. And for everybody who's listening, Enough, the College Cost Crisis, How to Protect Your Wallet and Your Students' Financial Future. So what are parents to do today when they walk the same path you walked with you and your husband and your daughter about trying to find the right fit, because she obviously has whole brain usage, art being on one side. And what was her other major? What was her major?
Her major was illustration with a minor in graphic design, but she happened to be also very good at almost everything academic. She was a good student and a hard worker.
Well, that's all you can ask for, isn't it?
Yes.
So when you went on this journey with your daughter, what did you learn that can ease the pain for parents today? I mean, if they are committed to getting their child in college, and there are lots of art schools around, so you could have taken the easy way out and sent her to one in Berkeley, for example. I think there's one. And I think there is one in North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken, because there's some friends who have sent their daughter to the East Coast, ironically enough, to attend an art college. And I can't remember the name of it because I didn't know we would be doing this part of it. But, how do you make that determination that this is where my child is going to go? Because
it's a package determination. But let me give you a mantra that I've written and believe in. I think every parent needs to start this process with this. Get them through the right school at the best possible price in the least amount of time that results in a degree or certification they can use.
Okay, so when you say I'm listening and I'm hearing keywords from me and when I was younger and what was going on with my life, you're talking about the best price. Are you saying that it's negotiable?
Many schools are negotiable, but it really depends on how much they want your student. When I say best possible price, at the time that our daughter was ready to go to college, they didn't have in-state programs in her chosen area. And she had, as her art teacher said, the chops to make it. And we had to verify that, okay?
Sure.
The next thing was, where do we send her, and will they get her down to a decent price? My plan, my savings plan was, I will figure out how to get you through in-state school. But everything else, if you have to go out of state or private, then we have to find money for that.
Sure.
Shorthand answer, she earned 2 major scholarships, one from the university she attended and one in a national competition. I'm very grateful for that, but I want to be also very honest about that. The scholarship pool has shrunk. It's not because there's less money, it's because there's more students. In the 1970s, barely over 51% of students ever went past high school with any kind of educational work. Today, we're at 70%. In percentages, that's a 40% increase. So your competition has grown in the last 45, 50 years. So there's money out there, but there's not a lot of money out there. So you need to look real hard at your student and be brutally honest. All students are wonderful. All children, they're wonderful. I mean that. They're beloved. And I mean that. But they're not all going to win a full ride scholarship to anywhere you want to go. And we just have to be authentic about that. I know what wonderful schools you have out in your area, and they're picky, and they can afford to be picky. Because if you spread every valedictorian and salutatorian across every college and university in the country, every school would have 14 of them.
Oh, wow.
So that's how few schools there are and how many high talent people there are in the country. They graduate literally every year. So what is a parent to do? I've just destroyed your thinking about all this.
It's okay.
Let's be honest about it. So scholarships are hard to come by. They're hard to get. So, and all kinds of scholarships, whether it's sports, arts, or even academic, those standards are very high. Let me talk sports. Many families have literally looked me in the face and said, she is going to get an athletic scholarship at a Division I or II school.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 1 out of 50 football players will earn a football scholarship anywhere. 1 out of 35 baseball players will earn one. 1 out of 35 soccer players will earn one. And the NCAA has a limit on the dollars. There is a max dollar amount currently just under $12,000 a year.
What?
Yes, ma'am. Now, they can create packages. And for example, they can create packages. But the actual football part of it, or the baseball or the sports part of it, is division limited and by the NCAA rules. So chances of your student, short of them being so obviously NBA, NFL, any other MLB level players, and they are obvious, you know them.
Right.
Your local paper, your local e-paper, they all tout whoever it is. I'll give you just a quick example in my neck of the woods. We had a young man who helped win a state championship in a high school that had only been up for 2 years. He was so talented, he went to Berkeley. He stayed there 3 years. He now plays for the San Diego Chargers. We all knew that Keenan Allen was going to go pro. We just didn't know how, when, and where.
Right.
It was so obvious. He blew the record books out. Unless your kid is at that level, and you will know it, then that full ride is open for conversation. The other thing that happens is the FAFSA. Let me talk about the FAFSA. The FAFSA is like playing poker with see-through cards. Your cards are the only ones that are see-through. You can't see theirs. It is an application where you grant them information about your savings, about your income, and they come up with a calculation called the expected family contribution.
Right, I've heard that.
This is the money they say, we think you can afford this every year. I have never met a family that thought that number was right or even fair. And I remember when I hit the little magic green button and it came back about 25 seconds later, I looked at it and burst out laughing.
Wow.
Just out laughing. So this is the number the school already knows that under federal calculation that they expect you to find somewhere. Then they start looking at the talent that you bring, the academic, the sports, the artistic, the specialty or specialness of your student. So what are we going to do? We're in huge competition, more attendees, higher costs, and frankly, less options. So that's why I believe that we have to find the right school at the best possible price. And sometimes that best possible price is looking different than anything we've thought of before. This pandemic has absolutely started a tsunami in academia. Schools are deeply impacted by it. The students don't like professors who are not comfortable teaching on the technology. And everybody is mad about paying full-blown tuition for video courses. Well, here's the comedy of all, folks. Online courses by major universities respected everywhere have been going on for 20 years.
Yes, I know that. I'm on somebody's mailing list that I get information about courses that I could take online that have been there for over 20 years. And I'm going, why is everybody going crazy? Just shift your way of learning.
And that's exactly a part of what I want to suggest to folks. There's a very cost-effective way. We're going to get right there in a minute. But let me just make some name brand commentary. Sure. Every major university in the country has an online degree program of some kind. In the East Coast where I am, University of Florida has been well regarded and very inexpensive per course hour, around $330 a course hour. So you could get a normal 3-hour class for $1,000. That's not shabby. Purdue Global, Purdue, very nicely regarded,
Right.
also has an online degree program. So there is a lot of online stuff out there. And if that's what you want to do, that is definitely an option. But let's go ahead, if you don't mind. I'm heading towards the secret sauce. If you don't mind, let's go ahead.
I'll love the secret sauce.
Okay, well, I did too. There is something that 80% of all colleges and universities will accept that no one knows about. And there's a reason. It'll make sense when I get done explaining it to you. There is a program called College Level Exam Placement, CLEP. I pronounce it CLEP. I hope I'm right.
That's not fair. That's not fair to do to the host. Make her laugh out loud. Oh, my Lord.
I'm sorry. So I will call it
No, you're not.
program.
No, you're not.
Yes, ma'am. You're right. You're right. Sorry. Now I got to get back to thinking. Give me a second here.
College level exam
placement. All right. Most of us who've been to college recognize that the first 2 years is a buffet of courses options. You're supposed to explore lots of different things. Introduction to biology, introduction to chemistry, introduction to physics. Oh, I don't think so. Introduction to lit, sociology, history, psychology, etc. The College Board, the nice folks that brought us the ACT and the SAT, has 33 courses, including basic languages such as French, German, and Spanish. And you can test in all of these introductory courses. And you can get it on a pass-fail basis. Basically, did I make the score or didn't I? They use an 80-point scale. Don't know about, that's interesting. And the college determines the number you have to pass at. Around my neck of the woods, they're looking for 55s and 60s. That's a pretty common passing number. So here's what you can do. The course itself is maybe, well, actually the course is almost free if you work it right. It's all in the book. The exam is $89. You can buy the College Board, what I want to call it. Remember Cliff Notes? Yeah, Cliff Notes. They have some stuff that'll help you. You can study all this material, go to a Prometric or equivalent training center, take the exam, get your credit, and that can go to your college that you plan to attend for your final 2 years. Now, here's the problem. You have to know what school you will be admitted to, what school, and that hopefully is the same one that you plan to go to. You have to choose your major direction, and you would need to work with their admissions counselors and or their academic counselors to be sure that you get all these credits in the right categories. You can show up with almost 2 years. In some cases, it's 1 3/4. In some cases, it's a straight 2. It really varies with each school. And it's both at public and private universities and colleges. And you can walk in being a second semester sophomore or a first semester junior. Your total cost, I've calculated it many ways, never exceeds $4,000. Ever.
Wow. How do you do that?
You do that by planning with your end in mind, with your goal in mind, and work it backwards.
Right.
For example, I want a business degree, bachelor's of business degree. I'm going to this school. I look up on their website, these schools, buried in their academics, they will have the list of CLEP courses that they accept and what grades. I've printed them off from my local schools here. And you work your way back to, okay, they want a language. I'm good in Spanish. I did really well in Spanish in high school. Let me go hit Spanish 1 and Spanish 2, study for 6 weeks, take my tests. Yeah, I passed. Woohoo, let's go on and do that. And you can do this and work. Everybody around here is looking for people to work. So you could be at home, be doing these exams, and take 2 years and still put money in the bank and pay for this simultaneously. You could walk in with no debt, almost 2 years of credit, and money that you can now apply to your third year and or fourth year. And what you have to borrow around here is significantly lower. And it's a ratio, no matter how much more expensive it is. Where you are, everything has a ratio. The incomes are higher, the pays are higher, and so you get the same ratio of costs.
So how are you finding that potential students are using this technique?
Well, it starts with the parents. I don't mean to be really rude, but the young people at 18, bless them, I think I knew everything at 18 too, just like they do. You need a parent who is really driving this and says, let me explain how much money we do and don't have towards this. Parents have to create a budget. So if the parents say, I've got $10,000 or I'm willing to borrow $10,000 for you, or I'm willing to borrow 20 or whatever the number is, let's stretch this so you have the least amount of debt. That's so important. The other thing that's very wrong with our system right now is that no one shows you what that debt means 9 months after you leave school. By the way, leaving school means you're no longer full-time. So you have to be in school full-time for them not to send you the bill. And right now, for example, people don't realize that they're accruing interest on these loans from your freshman year.
Oh, dear.
Every year, freshmen tack on the interest, sophomore tack on the interest, and you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
So you come out, you may have borrowed $10,000 a year, but you're coming out with $36,000 worth of debt. $46,000, $48,000, and it keeps climbing. So when you come out with, let's say you come out with $50,000 of debt right now, on the 10-year repayment plan, you're looking at about a $549 a month repayment. I can buy a really nice car for that.
God, yes.
And I don't have to pay for it.
Really, really, really nice.
Really nice car for that. So it's what's happening to the students, and it also impacts their credit worthiness. If they get behind, if they stop payments, and they do, they lose a job or COVID hits or something, and they stop, and all of a sudden they're in default now, and the interest is accruing, and here come the penalties. It's the most merciless thing. I have a whole chapter on it. If you're not upset by the end of the chapter, I didn't write it well enough. It's insane. It's just that bad.
So I want to make sure that everybody, again, here's the title of your book, because this information is in your book, yes?
It is, every bit of it.
Every bit of it. Enough. The College Cost Crisis, How to Protect Your Wallet and Your Students' Financial Future. So those who are listening, again, re-listen to this podcast, take notes, take down the title of the book, go buy the book, take the book home, read the book once, then go back again, start from the beginning with your plan with your child. Your child could be maybe 14, 15 at this point in time. Doesn't have to be 18, ready to go out the door. I'm one for long-term planning. So if you can do this long-term, get your kid a little bit younger and get them into the mode of knowing what they need to do. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. And let me add that the middle part of the book is really about helping you assess your students' gifts and great talents and opportunities. I felt that was very necessary. Sometimes we forget they're not mini-me's, and we really need to honor what they're super good at. And every student has something they're really good at. But let me make one quick comment. This book isn't about everybody goes to college. I actually advocate that everybody needs to get more education in what they're really interested in. Quick story. Good friend, son's a sophomore in high school. They kept thinking college, but you know what? He goes over and volunteers and works in a shop, and he's telling his parents that he thinks he might want to go to the local avionics program. The local avionics program is so exciting because they'll pay you to go to the program. They'll pay for your program. 3 companies at our regional airport will hire you, and the starting salary is twice what most people are coming out of school with. That's how much in demand they are. So I'm an advocate of any higher education.
Correct. Well, I think sometimes you're dealing with a lot of ego with the parents when the parents want the child to go to college, whether or not they're capable on all levels and whether or not they have decided that there's something else in their life that they would rather do. Me, I had no idea. I heard talk from other people say, well, you could do this, you could be a surgeon, you could be a Whoosies, you could be a Watsies. And it was like, sorry, that doesn't fit my life picture right now, people. So Okay, what can people do? Parents, what can parents, let's label them. What can parents do today? They've listened to your podcast. They've bought the book. They haven't read it yet, but they have the book in front of them. What do you advise them to do? Their child is 15 going on 16.
Well, the first thing is the book is written in short chapters. And it's really that quick. I know you have maybe 15 minutes on a carpool line. Read a chapter. Do the assessments. I offer many easy links to assessments that are inexpensive. They're not all cheap. Cheap usually doesn't mean quality, so you need put a little money. If you have no idea what your student is really good at, this would be something you could do. Then look at them honestly. The most important thing you can do, if your student is a C student, that's fine. But the chances of getting into the most prestigious in-state university is a little bit suspect. So it's okay. There's another path for them, and that's all right. I promise if the parents will pay attention to the gifts and graces that each of their children have, I believe the pathway will show itself with just a little bit of appropriate attention. Number 4, if they need help learning how to learn, there are plenty of people who can help them. There are kids who have no time management skills. There are kids who don't know how to read. Let me tell one quick true story. My daughter is plenty smart enough, but somewhere around the end of junior high school, I noticed her falling behind in her reading, and I couldn't believe that. And she finally let loose with the fact that some teachers said she had to read every word.
Oh.
And I was like, ruh-roh.
I'd never get through all the books I read each week if I read every word.
Exactly. So her crazy mom, me, I sent her off to a speed reading class at the local college. She must have been the youngest person ever enrolled. But you know what? It made all the difference in all the work she had to do in high school. And it helped her get the grades that she really should have earned. So you be aware that perfectly wonderful students can get hung up on stuff. If they need math coaching, get them math coaching. If they need English reading, speed reading, whatever, help them be the best they can be so that they will have a better experience in any kind of education, higher, high school, whatever.
Okay, I could probably talk to Bonnie Burkett the entire day about this and many other things, but I don't have that option. So go and check out Bonnie's book, Enough! The College Cost Crisis, How to Protect Your Wallet and Your Students' Financial Future. Sit down with your child, even if you've made that decision about college. It's already November for next September. So sit down and talk to your child and find out what they think they really want to do, and keep your mouths closed until they finish talking, because they may have some unique idea about what they want to do, and then you can figure out a unique further education for them and the highest and best use of their brain. Well, I want to thank Bonnie Burkett for being here today. She's been amazing, and I wish I would have known this decades ago. But Bonnie wasn't born then. So
thank you.
Bonnie wasn't born then to give us all of this information, but she's here now. She's on Facebook at College Cost Crisis. She has her own page there. She's on LinkedIn at Bonnie Burkett, and on Instagram at Lightway LLP, and on Twitter at Lightway LLP. This will all be on her website page, on my website. So I want to thank Bonnie for being here today. Any last words under 25?
Really quickly, take charge of this, or they will take charge of it for you.
Oh dear, we can't have that. Okay, parents,
Nope.
You hear that? Because if they take charge, you might wind up having the debt. Anyway, this is Joanne Victoria signing off. And if you want a copy of my free book, The True Self Handbook, A Guide to Transform Your Life, go to my website, askjoannevictoria.com/podcasts. And we all wish you a wonderful, wonderful day. Take care, everybody.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Sanity Project podcast. Please go to askjoannevictoria.com to listen to more podcasts. Check out Joanne's coaching programs and get a free copy of her report, 5 Steps to Achieve Life-Work Harmony. That's AskJoanneVictoria.com. Take care, and thanks for being here.